Why are art galleries so weird about prices? This is Blackbird Rook, a weekly essay on contemporary art and the culture around it. This piece was originally written for Plaster magazine. What's with all the price secrecy in art galleries? Why are prices often only available on request? Are there different prices depending on who's asking? It can all feel a bit shady and elitist. This is one of the art world's frustrating rituals, the dance around the price. It's all part of the theatre, half mystique, half market strategy, but it can feel like a test, as if knowing the code is required for entry. I'll start with the practical answer. In many traditional galleries, particularly the older, more established ones, prices aren't listed because the price is not the whole story. That might sound like a line, but in this case it's true. You're not just buying an object, you're entering a relationship. And like many dysfunctional relationships, it begins with ambiguity. There's an element of performance to the whole thing. Years ago, I went to a friend's opening and asked about a painting I liked. The sales director, with the crisp smile of someone delivering an expensive insult, told me everything had sold. Half an hour later, she sidled up and said she might be able to convince one buyer to release a piece. And when I mentioned this to the artist afterwards, he told me that absolutely nothing had sold. Not one painting. It was smoke, mirrors, and maybe a little panic. This is known in polite terms as creating demand. In less polite terms, it's the cultural equivalent of negging. If you think you're lucky to be offered a piece, you're more likely to buy it, quickly and without quibbling over price. But let's not be too cynical. One reason for not disclosing prices publicly is simply that the pricing can be, well, fluid. This isn't to say galleries charge different prices to different people, though discounts are available. But who you are might determine what else is involved. With in-demand artists, the ones with waiting lists and rumors of institutional interest, the sale is rarely a straight transaction. In the past, I've been embarrassed to explain to collectors that if they want to acquire a particular piece from a gallery, they will need to buy two works, one for themselves and one to gift to a museum, if they have the connections. Or that they will need to buy a work by another artist in the gallery's program as part of the deal. It's like getting into an exclusive nightclub, except the bouncer hands you a catalogue and demands you buy a sculpture by someone you've never heard of. And yes, if you're not on the preferred client list, a murky combination of relationships, influence and wealth, they may not want to sell to you at all. Not because you're necessarily unworthy, but because they're playing a long game, placing the work into collections that boost the artist's profile, attract press, and keep prices on an upward curve. If a painting ends up in a well-known private or museum collection, others will follow. Provenance becomes marketing. That's why they want to know who you are before they tell you what it costs. Because selling you the work isn't just a transaction, it's a placement. It's not so much, if you have to ask, you can't afford it, as, if you have to ask, we're not sure you should own it. But this whole world is changing. Platforms like Artsy claim that their works are 6 times more likely to sell when prices are visible. Whether that's true or not, there's a definite push toward transparency. The art market contracted by nearly 40% over the last 2 years, and even the coolest galleries are realizing that mystique doesn't pay the rent. More and more, you see prices listed on PDFs and previews. And for younger galleries, or those working with emerging artists, openness is often a point of principle. It's not just pragmatic, it's political. Price transparency can signal accessibility, fairness, even rebellion against the hushed snobbery of the old guard. Though it should also be noted that it's often the youngest galleries that are the most difficult to work with, as they clumsily ape what they believe to be the mystique of the established. So it's not surprising that people are a little suspicious. It is elitist. It is opaque. But although some of the chain galleries showing blue-chip reproductions are overpricing and creating Ponzi artists, beware galleries that promote the investment potential of their artists. Most of the others are not. Often hiding the price is more about protecting an ecosystem. Artists, collectors, institutions, reputations. That doesn't make it less annoying, but at least now, when you ask for the price and get a coy reply, you'll know you're not just being fobbed off, you're being vetted. And if all else fails, ask again, repeatedly, with charm and menace in equal measure. The trick isn't just knowing the price, it's knowing how to make them want to tell you.